Animals can really surprise us with how clever they are. One small cat came to a fish store with a leaf, and what happened next amazed everyone. This little cat had been visiting the shop for several days. Marcus, the owner, loved animals and told his workers not to chase the cat away. "Just let him be," Marcus would say. "He's not bothering anyone." The cat would sit quietly in the shade, watching through the glass window. He seemed to be studying how people acted inside the store. But whenever Marcus or the workers tried to get close, the cat would run away. He didn't want to be touched. He was just there watching. It looked like he was learning how people paid money to get fish. Cats have brought small gifts to people for a long time, ever since they started living near humans. When a cat likes you, it might bring a dead mouse to your bed or drop a toy in its food bowl. These animals are smart, and they know how to get people's attention. This cat wouldn't be any different. He came to the shop so often that Marcus and regular customers started calling him Whiskers. Whiskers was always calm, and his good behavior made people happy. Then one day, something amazing happened. For the first time, Whiskers actually walked into the shop. He had a leaf in his mouth. People in the store looked over as he quietly joined the line with everyone else. He stood there waiting his turn, just like the other customers. He didn't push ahead or demand anything. He just watched people give money and leave with their fish. Then the line moved forward, and so did he. When his turn came, people felt nervous and curious about what he would do. Some shoppers had already bought their fish but stayed to watch. "Well, I'll be," one customer whispered to another. "Look at that little guy." It was clear this small cat had a plan. He jumped onto the counter and carefully placed the leaf in front of Marcus. Then he waited, eyes bright, body perfectly still. It only took a moment for everyone to understand. He was trying to buy a fish with that leaf. The room filled with laughter and wonder. He had seen customers give paper money, and to him, the leaf must have looked similar. He wasn't being sneaky. He wasn't trying to steal the fish and run. He was offering what he had the way he understood it. A fair trade. He wanted food, just like everyone else. Marcus looked down at him. This tiny cat standing there with a leaf like it was valuable. How could anyone say no? "Well, little guy," Marcus said with a smile, "I think we can make a deal." Marcus bent down, chose a small fish, and gave it to the cat. Whiskers looked thrilled with his reward. He took the fish, ran outside, and sat down to enjoy his earned meal. Everyone who saw it couldn't stop smiling. It was one of those wonderful moments that stays with you. The story spread quickly among customers, and people kept talking about the smart cat who came to buy fish with a leaf. Nobody thought it would happen again soon, but they were wrong. The next day, it happened again. Marcus was working in the back when a worker came to find him. "Your favorite customer is here," they said, grinning, "and he's got his payment ready." There was Whiskers back in line, leaf in mouth, waiting patiently for his turn to buy more fish. Marcus couldn't help but smile. He was happy to serve him. Marcus's family had owned that fish shop for many years. When he was young, he would go on fishing trips with his father to help catch what they would sell later. Marcus took over the fishing, and his dad stayed back to handle customers. Over time, they built up the business slowly. Now that Marcus was in charge, he still went out on the boat once or twice each week, but most days his crew handled the catches. Through the years, their customers had gotten to know them well. Some had even watched Marcus grow up. But even with all those years and faces, nobody had ever been as faithful as Whiskers the cat. Rain or shine, hot or cold, Whiskers came every single day. Some days his leaf would be wet and droopy from the rain. Other times it was just a small piece because the rest had broken apart. Still, without missing a day, he came to buy his fish. "Rain or shine, there's our boy," Marcus would tell his wife. "Never misses a day." Marcus began keeping a small fish ready just for him. And on days when Marcus wasn't there, his wife and workers all knew exactly which fish to save. It became clear that Marcus had grown very fond of his little customer. He often thought about Whiskers' life away from the shop. Where did he sleep? Was he safe? Was anyone caring? For him? Finally, Marcus decided he couldn't just keep wondering. He had to do something. He chose a quiet spot behind the shop and made it into a comfortable place, just in case Whiskers wanted it. He put a covered cat bed under a protected corner with a water bowl and some cat food. Whiskers still got his daily fish, of course, but Marcus thought he might enjoy something different sometimes. And even though the cat was starting to look healthier, Marcus knew winter was coming. One fish each day wouldn't be enough to keep him strong when the weather got cold. Marcus lived right next door, so he could look out the window to check on Whiskers. And when he finally saw the little cat curled up in that bed, sleeping peacefully, it felt like a big win. "Look at that," Marcus told his wife, pointing out the window. "He's using the bed." Marcus's wife and the shop workers couldn't help but smile watching him. It was kind of funny seeing this tough fisherman get so excited over a tiny cat. But that's exactly what was happening. And even though she kept it to herself, Marcus's wife had already begun preparing for the chance that when winter came, they might have another furry family member moving in. Still, nobody could have guessed what was coming. Before the cold weather really arrived, Whiskers didn't always sleep in the little shelter Marcus had built, but it was clear he knew it was there for him. That was important. He had a safe place whenever he needed it. Most days, even if he didn't show up in the bed, he still visited the shop like clockwork, leaf in mouth, ready for his fish. Then one day, something felt wrong. Sorry for the interruption. Before we continue with the story, I kindly ask you to like the video and subscribe to this channel. It is very important for us. Thank you very much. Marcus had been out doing errands most of the afternoon, and he didn't return to the shop until just before closing time. As soon as he walked in, his heart sank. The little fish he always saved for Whiskers was still sitting on the ice, untouched. That had never happened before. The staff hadn't seen him all day. It hit Marcus hard. Something was definitely wrong. The cat hadn't missed one single day in more than 2 months. Where could he be? "Has anyone seen Whiskers today?" Marcus asked his staff, already knowing the answer. "No, boss," one of them replied. "We kept looking for him, but he never showed up." Marcus didn't waste any time. He kept the shop open an extra hour, hoping Whiskers might still come by, but he never did. He checked the shelter out back. Empty. The water and food hadn't been touched either. Marcus felt worry building in his chest. He walked around the block quietly, calling for the cat, looking in small corners where he might be hiding. Nothing. Then he got his car keys and drove around the neighborhood, headlights scanning the streets as evening got darker. He called out as he drove, slowing down to check every place a cat might hide. But it was no use. Eventually he had to go back home, heart heavy, hoping there was some harmless reason for Whiskers' absence. That night, Marcus barely got any sleep. His mind kept worrying. His wife tried to comfort him, saying the cat would probably appear the next morning like always. Marcus wanted to believe that. But when the next day came and the fish was still sitting there untouched by noon, his worry turned into real panic. "Something's happened to him," Marcus told his wife. "This isn't like him at all." His wife took over at the store and Marcus went out again, determined to find the little cat. The staff promised to call him the moment Whiskers showed up, but that call never came. And just like Marcus feared, something was wrong. Somewhere out there, Whiskers was in serious trouble. Marcus was frantic. He drove around again, stopping, often searching every place he could think of, alleys, under porches, behind buildings. He knew Whiskers wouldn't have gone far. He never had before. But now it seemed like he had disappeared. The hope Marcus had been holding on to started to fade away. Whiskers was so small, and the world felt so big and far too quiet. Then Marcus drove past a park and something made him slam on the brakes. Just off the side of the road near the grass, Marcus spotted a little bundle of fur that looked way too familiar. His heart sank. He had been hoping to find Whiskers tucked away somewhere, maybe hurt, but still okay. But this small shape wasn't moving. Marcus's chest got tight as he stepped out of the car, dread growing with every step. Any other day, if it had been a different animal or just a random tuft of fluff, he might have kept driving. But not today. Not with that familiar color. Not with Whiskers still missing, he had to know. He walked closer, holding his breath. And there he was. It was Whiskers. Marcus couldn't even tell if he was alive. Just as fear started to take over, the little cat lifted his head slightly and looked up at him. He was alive, barely. His body was covered in cuts, and one of his legs looked completely broken. The other was twisted badly. It looked like he'd been hit by a car and left by the road. Marcus felt his heart break. What could he do? Technically, Whiskers wasn't his cat, just a regular little visitor. But standing there, thinking about that sweet face and the leaf he brought every day, Marcus already knew his answer. "Don't worry, buddy," Marcus whispered, gently lifting the injured cat. "I've got you now." He rushed him to the vet, not caring what it would cost. This little guy had worked so hard just to earn a fish each day. He mattered. Marcus wasn't about to abandon him now. The vet took him in immediately. The news wasn't great. Whiskers had deep cuts and bruises everywhere. Both back legs were damaged. One broken, the other badly twisted. Surgery would be needed, and recovery would take time. But the vet believed he could pull through. "We'll do everything we can," the vet said. "He's a fighter." While Whiskers stayed at the clinic for treatment, Marcus tried to find his family. A cat this sweet and smart had to belong to someone. But there was no microchip. Posters were put up around town, and calls were made, but no one came forward. It was hard to believe, but Whiskers really didn't seem to have a home. At first, that made Marcus sad, but slowly, something else took over. Hope. Marcus had never had a cat before. He'd grown up with dogs and didn't know much about cats. But Whiskers, this little leaf-carrying, fish-buying cat, he was different. And Whiskers seemed to know Marcus was different too. Every time Marcus visited the clinic, the cat perked up, eager to get out of his cage and reach him. He'd snuggle into Marcus's arms and just stay there. Marcus liked to believe it wasn't just the fish that made Whiskers happy. It was the bond they'd formed, the way Whiskers responded, the calm in his eyes. It felt like more than gratitude. It felt like trust. They were getting ready to bring him home, to make him part of the family for good. But then the phone rang. A woman said she thought the cat might be her missing pet. "We think he might be our Luna," she said. "She disappeared months ago, right around when you said this." Cat started showing up. Her story fit. Their cat had vanished right around the time Whiskers began visiting the shop. She sent over photos, and truthfully, the cat in them looked a lot like Whiskers. Marcus tried to feel happy for him. Finding your original family should be a good thing, but it hurt. He'd been looking forward to bringing Whiskers home. It already felt like he belonged with them. The day before Whiskers was supposed to leave the clinic, the family came to meet him. They were hopeful and excited, but things didn't go how they expected. The woman looked at him and said, "He doesn't look exactly like Luna." Still, they tried to explain it away. Maybe the accident changed his appearance. But then the vet opened the cage and Whiskers shot straight into Marcus's arms. No hesitation, no glance at the couple nearby. When the woman reached out to pet him, Whiskers backed away. When she tried again, he hissed. "Luna, baby, don't you remember me?" she said softly, tears forming in her eyes. It stunned everyone. This was a calm, polite cat, even with strangers. Watching her cry, leaning on her husband, whispering that she couldn't believe Luna would act that way, was heartbreaking. But if this really was their cat, wouldn't there be some kind of recognition? That's when the vet decided to ask about medical records. And that's when everything became clear. Their missing cat, Luna, was a spayed female and had been microchipped as a kitten. Whiskers, on the other hand, was a neutered male with no microchip when he arrived. As much as they wanted it to be true, Whiskers wasn't their cat. "I'm so sorry," the vet told them gently. "But based on everything, this definitely isn't Luna." It was hard to hear. They'd searched for Luna for months before, eventually adopting another rescue. As for Whiskers, the choice was already made. His person was Marcus. When he was finally cleared to leave, there was no question where he belonged. They didn't go back to the fish shop. Marcus carried him. Next door, to his house. "Welcome home, Whiskers," Marcus said softly as they stepped inside. The house was ready. A cozy bed with soft blankets, toys, and a heated pad for cold days when his wounds still ached. What caught Whiskers' eye right away was a soft, toy fish which he carried around proudly like treasure. That first winter they kept him indoors. They didn't want to risk anything, but when spring came they let him explore again. He wore a tracker, not that it was needed. Whiskers never wandered far, just next door to the shop, greeting customers. "There's our celebrity," people would say. "The cat who pays with leaves." The cat who once brought leaves for fish now had everything. A warm home, all the fish he wanted, and most of all, a family who truly loved him. What more could any animal ask for? Did you enjoy this story? If you had found Whiskers by the road, would you have helped him even though he wasn't your pet? Let us know in the comments. And if you liked this story, please subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Kindness to animals always finds its way back to us in the most beautiful ways. Thanks for listening and see you in the next video. Have a great day.